Hi, my name is Isaac and I am Chef Dev, the GMTK 2021 Game Jam, which is the biggest annual game jam, at least that I'm aware of. This year's theme, Join Together. 20,000 people signed up to participate and over 5,000 people submitted games, which is insane. I submitted my game, The Fox and the Shadow. I'll put the link down in the description so you can give it a play. If you've made a submission, let me know down in the comments and I'll try to give it a play. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button and let's get into it. Originally, I had decided not to participate, but as I sat on the toilet at 5 AM, I read the theme, Join Together, and as I laid down to get a few more hours sleep, I slowly started to think about the different things that I could do to make a small game over the next couple days. I had even less time than usual, since I had my niece's birthday party on Saturday, so I couldn't even work on the game that day. I honestly only had one choice on what to make, since I was working with so little time. I had to make a platformer. At this point, a few years into doing game development, I had gotten a really solid hold on making a platformer. I had the controls up and running that morning without any real idea of what I was going to make. I was also worried about making a game too difficult or complicated. I just finished the Go Godot game jam, and let me tell you, the feedback was not great. People are mostly nice in comments, so it wasn't until I got my ranking I was able to fully understand how bad my game design really was for that jam. I'm still licking my wounds from that one, and I can't bring myself to make a devlog about it. But maybe subscribe, keep an eye out for it, since I do plan to make one right after this. So I have to make a platformer. I can't make it too complicated, and I need to tie in the theme, Join Together. My first idea was going to be 2 characters where you can control both, but the controls are inverted and you need to get both on the same platform to win. But I found this very limiting. It was not at all fun and almost impossible to design levels around. They had to be symmetrical, mostly, so I brought in a mechanic where you could place platforms to manipulate the inverted player, but it just turned into a game where you would place the block wherever you didn't want the player to move. It was too easy and it made the game pointless, so eventually I just gave up and made it so you could switch between them. The twist then became, what if you could only use specific platforms, and they had to work together to get to the same goal? That's simple, it's not unique, and I only really have 24 hours, so it's better to do this and have a playable product than have one that isn't. So I implemented that with a simple controller in the player script. And that was it for Saturday morning, and I was off to my niece's birthday and had a great time. I really took the expectations off for this jam. My attitude was essentially, I'll make something, I just want to participate, because I want to get out there and get to know other people in this space and get to know the community and for them to get to know me. I'm not trying to win or create a mind-blowing mechanic or experience. I just want to be in the mix. So on Sunday I had to design the levels, and I first thought, let's keep this simple. You don't want to repeat your last mistakes. So what was wrong with the last time you did this? The first thing, it wasn't clear what the player had to do. I didn't really put any instructions in my last jam. There was just sort of like a thing at the start explain to you what you had to do without like breaking it down. And the controls weren't displayed up front, so you had to dig into the menu or you had to read the description, which just people don't do inherently. It was also way too hard. And then the fail state reset the entire level, which were reasonably large, so you had to like waste a lot of time when you died, so none of that was fun. So what could I do to remedy these issues? The first thing I decided on was to make the levels single rooms, to make it really quick to reset if you failed the level and there's not a lot of space to cover anyway. The other thing I did was make sure that there was a steady build up in instructions for the player. The first 2 levels are really easy, and it just gives a sense of what you're actually doing. I also made the instructions really clear. It also helps that some of the mechanics I didn't think of straight away. The idea that you could jump on each other didn't even come up until the 4th level, and this just came about because I was struggling to come up with interesting puzzles. I also put buttons in to trigger more platforms to give a bit more dynamic to each level as well. I came up with this really cool system to make each tile go down one by one, which is my favourite thing to implement. It was really satisfying to code up and to see it come to life in the game. I busted out the levels and got to work on the sound and the UI. I recycled the sounds I made from the last game and used the song from Eric's Skiff to play in the background. I'll link his work below. I spent some time on the instructions, which just ended up being a massive label on the first level, but whatever, it communicates the point. Then I did up the game page graphics and put together a nice package and icon. Something that I skipped in my last jam, but I'm realizing after this, it's actually really important to get noticed when you're in this sea of other games. So I wrapped that up and hit the submit button on Sunday afternoon. I'm in Australia, so the deadline was actually 4 AM on Monday, but I didn't want to sit there at night and tweak every little thing, so I just plonked it up there and jumped into the garden to help the wife with some landscaping in our yard. And I did not expect to get the response that I did. I woke up the next morning to a sea of notifications. It was played over 200 times in the first 24 hours. That's insane for me. I don't even have a following yet. Hit that sub button to help me out. So I just have to put it down to making the icon and the game page look good, and probably a lot of luck. I'm learning presentation is really important. Makes sense given the visual nature of this hobby, but if you knew me in real life, presentation is not my thing. I'm actually the worst at marketing. But I'm really stoked at achieving this. Even if I don't rank well, I was able to get eyes on my product, which is a big enough deal for me. As far as I can tell, it's around the 50th most rated game in the jam, which, out of over 5,000 entries, is absolutely mind-blowing. Cannot believe that. I had a lot of fun playing other games. It's truly amazing to see what people can achieve in 48 hours, and some of the mechanics people have come up with are really beautiful. What could have I done better? Well, there's no visual when you switch between the fox and a shadow, so you don't know if you actually made the switch when you hit the button. The level design is a bit janky too. Often, when you're jumping, you will hit your head on the platforms above, which just isn't fun. Also, people have said there's no Cody time, but there is, so maybe I just should have tuned that a little as well. And to be honest, the tuning for the jump and the movement isn't that great either, so it's not the best in terms of control. Overall, I had a lot of fun, especially taking the pressure off and just making something simple. Game jams are stressful, but I think if you remove some of your own expectations, then you can reduce that stress a little bit. But I don't know. I've only done 2 so far, so I can't really comment. And that's my entry to the GMTK 2021 Game Jam. If you've made a submission, let me know down in the comments and I'll try to give it a play. We've got, at the time of recording this, about a day before the rankings get revealed. That's all for now. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.